All right, hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Street Level Strategies. My name is Bobbi Jo Dallas, Customer Engagement Manager at Total Expert, and today I am joined by the one and only Angie Turley from Fairway. How are you doing, Angie?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing so good. I'm actually so excited to have you on today because, everyone in the world has told me that I need to get you on this show. And so finally, I have you. We're secured and we're having a conversation today. And so I'm truly just really happy to have you here. Now, the team has told me, that you are I'm not going to use any language here, but you are a pretty kick butt originator. And so I'm happy to have you on. Now, just talking a little bit about kind of who you are, and we'll do a little quick intro to you before we get started with the conversation.
Sure.
But it looks like this past year, you closed about 220 loans for about 47 million. And then actually just this past month, what I've also been told is that you were number one in all of Fairway for largest number of units closed. So
Yes, ma'am.
congrats to you.
Thank
That's
you.
awesome. And you know what's super funny about that is that we also talked about how you live in a town of 10,000 people.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
for all the people who are out there, and that's why I think this is going to be such a fun conversation, because for all the people out there, they're like, well, I just don't do this or this. Like, I can't be that, whatever. You're like a living testimony to, hey, it doesn't matter where you live, but if you have the community outreach, you are working, you're getting your face out there,
Yep.
you can truly do it. And so again, why I'm so excited to have you on today. Now, I'm done hyping you up. I'll let you do just a little bit of a quick intro to you before we get started, Angie, and then we'll talk about Total Expert.
Okay.
I know I didn't tell you. Anything else you kind of wanted to share about yourself?
I have a pretty amazing team. I wouldn't be able to do what I do on a daily basis without them. So I always want to, preface with, yes, our numbers look great, but my team is the backbone of what we do and why I'm able to do what I do.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. Well, okay, let's just jump right in because you've been with Fairway for about 5.5 years. And beyond that, we were talking about, like, on average, you're closing about 300-ish units a year. You said you did the math, and that's kind of where you're sitting today. But truly, it's a testament to kind of your community involvement and how much you put yourself out there and brand yourself and make sure you're a presence in your community, which we will talk about. But beyond that, we also talked a little bit about how Total Expert is supporting your business. And the first piece of that is with the referral partners, right? And so you talked a little bit about how important Total Expert is in your day-to-day with your relationship with your agents and what that looks like when you go to open houses and things like that. And so I'd love for you just to share a little bit about, what that looks like and where you see the most value with Total Expert and your agent relationships.
Sure. So the co-marketing partners is a pretty big deal for us because we can add in there, and then we do a Zoom call with our agents after we add them as a co-marketing partner. So they are sharing their screen with me and I'm showing them every step of what Total Expert can do for them. Because let's be real, I don't like change, and I'm terrified of new systems, right? So if somebody just gives something to me, I'm not going to use it unless somebody shows me how to use it. So we just want to make sure that our realtors are educated. But for me, they've been able to, make their own financing flyers. They can jump in there and grab social media images. So a big piece for us is every time we meet someone and a new realtor, we're like, hey, we have this really awesome marketing program that has hundreds of flyers and social media posts, and you can keep track of your tasks, and you can even use it as a CRM if you don't have a CRM, because there are a lot of mom and pop places that don't have a CRM. So they're able to use it for that as well.
Yeah, I love that you're saying that you actually get in front of them. The strategy is, right, okay, you talk to an agent, maybe you just, you do business with an agent, and then you invite them, you show them the value, and then you're actually sitting down and getting them logged into the system, because that's the truth is they don't like change. None of us like change. So I love that you're saying as a best practice to get them in the system is you're following up and you're actually getting in the system and showing them. And then that's true is your team has an amazing, robust library of print resources. And the truth is, like, what better value add to say, hey, agent, here's a system and you have all of these resources for you at your fingertips. Like, that's just coming from us, like super awesome value add there.
And totally, easy, right? Because once we get them in there, they're in there forever. And then they can, again, use it at their leisure. And so it's been a game changer for us.
That's awesome. Something fun that you shared a little bit, and I want you to explain and kind of tell those listening is talk a little bit about what you do with open houses, because you do some fun and innovative things that I think other people would like to, hear what you're doing.
Yeah, so we print the open house feedback form from Total Expert, which is you can make it just singular by yourself or co-branded. Obviously, we want to make it co-branded to make sure that the agents actually use it. And so we have ordered clipboards from Amazon, and then we have our team logo sticker that we put at the bottom of every clipboard.
Love
So
it.
when we attend an open house, we take them 4 clipboards, a folder full of 25 of those open house feedback forms, and then a little trick, we also take them lottery tickets. So we usually take them $21 scratch offs. And that way, everyone that completes that open house feedback form gets a lottery ticket because people like free
They love
stuff.
lottery.
Right, right,
There's a
and who
chance.
doesn't want a chance to win $500 for filling out a form? But
Totally.
what's really awesome, one I attended a couple weeks ago, is this seller was able to get real-time feedback from these buyers in their home. And
Yep.
it's not just the realtor saying, oh, hey, we had 5 people through today and here's their
Yep.
feedback. You can actually white out, the buyer's information and scan those forms into the seller and they can see, oh my, there's actually people that gave us feedback.
Yeah.
So it works well for the realtors and for the sellers, and then obviously puts us out in front of those sellers too.
Yeah, I think that's super cool what you're saying because I've heard from a couple other folks too. Is you're actually bringing something of value to the
Hmm.
open houses. So number one thing that you're doing is you're actually getting out there, and I think that that's a key thing. Is there's a lot of loan officers who don't, and I think especially in the community where you're in and trying to build a brand presence. I mean, it's so important to keep getting your name
Hmm.
and your face out there. And that's one of the ways. And you're actually providing the value. But then beyond, I love what you said, beyond just here's the name of people who attended, put it on them. It's actually here's direct feedback on this, right?
Yeah.
So that they can get better. You guys can have a conversation. There's follow up from that conversation, which I think is fun. And you had a little fun with some lottery tickets and some giveaways.
Right.
Who doesn't like that? So,
And it's not
yeah,
a complicated form. I mean,
yeah,
it's like 5 questions, fill out your information. So it's not like it takes them 25 minutes to fill it out. They can have it filled out in less than 2 minutes.
yeah. And the other thing too that we were talking about was you do a good amount of consistent communication with your agents. And I think that that's something that I like to talk about, and hear from loan officers is what are those repeated things that you're doing? Because, beyond just getting out and getting the community, there's also a sense of I'm doing something and I'm providing value consistently to my agents or my customer base, which we'll talk about. But so what does that look like? How are you communicating and educating your agents on a consistent basis?
So the first thing we do is every Friday we send the I'm working this weekend. And I've been sending this email for 17 years. But with Total Expert, it was a new spin on it when we joined Total Expert, I think 4 or 5 years ago now. So it was a different spin and a different look of what that email looked like because I've been sending it so long. When I meet a new realtor, they will say, oh, let me guess, you're working this weekend. And I'm like, hell yes, I am.
Heck
I'm
yeah.
always working on the weekends. So it's funny that, and again, people correlate with that. And since we've been sending that out every weekend, we pick up a deal every single weekend. Like, no questions. If I send that email, my phone is ringing.
Yes.
So that's just, and it's super simple to send that out. And I schedule them at the beginning of the month, and I schedule every Friday that I know I'm going to be working that weekend. So it takes me 5 minutes to go in and schedule a month's worth of Friday posts.
Yeah.
And then anytime, we have a new product or a new loan program, Total Expert has been amazing about getting it in there, making sure it's timely, checking with our compliance team, and then we're able to fire that out to everyone.
Good.
We just got a new broker program, and I was able to send that to 20,000 people in my Total Expert database last night. And we've already had 15 responses this morning.
Yeah.
So, just being able to have current good information. And then also a lot of set it and forget it, right? The
Right.
campaigns, the journeys, those are all nice. Somebody replied back this morning, thank you for telling me so and so's birthday was today. And I was like, you're
You're
welcome.
welcome. I didn't
We
do
don't do it though. Total Expert does it, right?
Right.
And
Right.
again, it's just one of those set it and forget it, but it keeps you top of mind with those
Right.
realtors all the time.
Right. And what's so interesting is I hear so much pushback sometimes from loan officers. It's like, well, I don't want that to go out or whatever. But I'm like, it's like literally living testimony that they're good. Someone's going to respond. Like, okay, maybe not everyone, but one deal, one contact. If one person reaches back out, it's about the nurture, right? It's about
Hmm.
consistently educating or advising. And the two things that I think is cool of what you said, which I think is what's super powerful about the system, is that you have this sense of there's this consistency and repeatability that you don't have to think about. You set it and forget
Yep.
it, but then also the timeliness of, okay, there's a new program, there's something else that's coming out, and you can easily go in and send that out and push it out when you need to. And I think that to me is what is key about the system. Is it's not just, okay, yes, there is some automation, but and that's doing, great things on your behalf, but there's also this sense of I can do this, but just now I can do it more efficiently, right? And make my day
Right.
easier, and check in
Right.
on who's responding and who's, actually clicking, or who's responding to those emails. I mean, that is key. And you
And
also
you can see the open rates and all of that
yeah,
stuff. So that's always fun
yeah,
to go back and look at too.
totally. And you even do that, beyond just your agents, you're actually sending out blasts to your database. And I think that's
Hmm.
another thing that people can get scared about, is like, well, I don't know, it's the system, but you do that consistently, right? And there's a sense
Absolutely.
of education, advice, and you're also just getting in front of your database consistently. Otherwise, you think that you're special, right? Many people think, well, we all think we're special, but they will forget about you, right? If you don't
Hmm.
do that. So what does that look like for you? And where's the value there for you?
Well, and a lot of stuff like we talked, the customer side is I also try to bring them non-real estate or non-mortgage information. Like
Right.
this month, we sent them all of our favorite hole in the wall restaurants
Love it.
around our county.
Right.
Hey, this restaurant, and here's their website for more information.
Yeah.
So that way you're not also teaching them about mortgage or real estate, but you are also teaching them about their community. So we may send something out about, hey, the Old Settlers Parade is coming up in, our downtown area, the 1st through the 4th. Here's how you get more information. So we're also trying to keep them educated as
Totally.
far as community stuff goes as well, or stuff that's happening in our state. So not only again about mortgage or real estate, but about different stuff happening.
Yeah, the truth is, like, you're a person and you are very community driven, which I want to
Hmm.
get into a little bit, because I think that that's super powerful, and a really big point of your business is the community aspect. But you're making a point to not just educate them on mortgage, but to also educate them on everyday things and let them know that you're also part of the community. And so I know that's a really big part of who you are. And so I'd
Hmm.
love you to talk a little bit about what that looked like. And I remember you saying, so you're big in the community, but before, there was a time where you weren't, right? And you're like, I don't want my face
Hmm.
out there. And really,
Hmm.
what made you kind of push over the edge? Because now people tell me, like, their grandparents have your face on their refrigerator. So I'm like,
It's funny.
what got you
I
to this
just
point,
I got
right?
a text from a realtor this morning, and she's like, "You're not going to believe this, but I'm in North Carolina vacationing with my family, and your dishwasher magnet with your face is on
Literally,
their dishwasher." She's like, "I can't even leave the state without seeing your
without
face." And it's funny because they were past clients of mine like 7 or 8 years ago, but they still have my magnet on their dishwasher.
I mean,
So and like we talked, I didn't want my face out there because I didn't want people stopping me in the grocery store. So about 7 or 8 years ago, I was like, okay, it's time to put my face on stuff. And when we started doing that, it's just the face and name recognition
right.
blew up. I can't even go to an airport. I mean, we were flying back from Orlando and I met a client who I've never met and has been a client for 10 years
That's so
because
great.
she saw me and she was like, oh my God, I've never got to meet you. And I'm literally like
So fun.
sweatpants, hair up in a bun, like,
They still recognize you.
hey, right. Which also means I don't have a picture like the glamour shots from like the
Totally. You don't need no
1980s
glamour
that some realtors
shot.
still have on their cards.
Totally.
So for me, it was just again, and a lot of my stuff I do now has my total team on it because again, I am the face, but they are also the faces too. I
Yeah.
mean, a lot of my realtors and clients talk to my whole
Right.
team, so I want to make sure that they see their faces
Right.
as well.
Right.
Another cool thing we do through Total Expert is quarterly we send out a newsletter from my team
Yeah.
and we put on there something cool that happened to each team member with a photo from whatever happened in the last quarter. A lot of people talk about their families, and our realtors and clients really eat that up because then they're getting to see my whole team as people.
I love it. And I think what you're saying is, like, you're humanizing your team, right? Yes, you are the face,
Correct.
but I think people like to know that, A, you're celebrating your team, and also B, they're real human beings. I
Hmm.
think that we kind of forget that, yes, we live in this world of AI and all this stuff and glamour shots,
Hmm.
but there's a truth about it. When we get back to we're all just simple people, I think
Yep.
that also can go a lot further. I'm gonna talk a little bit about, we'll kind of end here, but I want you to share a little bit about your community involvement beyond just getting your name out there. What does it look like for you, and why is it so important for you to get involved, making sure that you're getting in front of, have a lot of involvement with police, firefighters, golf
Hmm.
outings, community events? Like, why is that for you so important?
I love being able to give back. When I grew up on the east side of Indianapolis in a trailer park, we didn't have much.
Right.
And so we got some stuff from nonprofits. We, had people in the community that helped take care of me and my siblings. So as I've gotten older and I've been able to grow my business, I want to be able to give back to my community. And I sit on, I think it's 12 different nonprofit boards now. But every single nonprofit board I sit on is something that is important to me within the community. I don't just say yes to sit on a nonprofit board. Like, I truly want to be
Yeah.
involved.
Right.
I've got 4 kids, a nephew that I raised, his father overdosed and died. So 2 of the boards that I sit on really focus on the heroin epidemic that we have in our county. So, everything I like to give back, and especially to police and fire. Police and fire do not get paid enough, just like teachers don't get paid enough. So we want to give back to them and make sure that we are showing how much we care. So for me, it's just giving back. And, that started at Fairway. I mean, I didn't sit on any boards before I came to Fairway, and 5.5 years later, here we are, because it starts all the way from the top at Fairway, that what you put out, you get back. And if
Love
you put good out, it will come back to you tenfold. So for me, it's been kind of awesome to kind of shift my mindset of, I don't have to go after every realtor that's out there, but I can be involved in my community, and then I can take buyers back to my realtors
Yeah.
that we've gotten pre-approved and we've worked with in the community.
Yeah, it comes full circle, and man, you're just
Mhm.
preaching right now. We're it's early and you're preaching. That's so good. I love that, you're talking about that community involvement. I think that's a really big takeaway for anyone listening, is that there is power in being in community, and,
There is.
letting that come full circle. And I love that you're saying it comes top down from Fairway, because I sure know that well, that, the team at Fairway is
Mhm.
wonderful. So
They really are.
we're very, very thankful for you, for Fairway, for you sitting, here and just chatting with me today. And I think that this will be a conversation that folks will hopefully eat up, because again, I told you that, Angie, this is going to be a good conversation. But again, thank you so much for joining, Angie. And
Thank you.
this is super helpful for others listening. So we'll talk soon.
And I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
Anytime. Talk soon.